I typically run one and get off.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It's a weekly World of Warcraft podcast with three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim, joined by Kristen.
Hi.
And Brian.
Hello.
And
We still don't have Alpha.
yes, that is true. We do not have Alpha. I am checking now. Nope.
Nope, no Alpha.
Just in the off chance that it showed up, it did not.
I'm not checking.
Unfortunately, well, yeah. But we are at a point right now where Season 4 is upon us. It's been out for 2 days.
Jim's the only one who's played it.
So it has been fairly...
What else is there to play besides the dungeons and the raids?
Yeah.
PvP, but I don't give a shit about that. So let's see. So I went and did LFR, and so there's a quest you get when you enter the Fated Raid for the first time. And it's to kill 30 bosses.
Those poor bosses.
The way this is intended to work is this gives you currency to buy the items, but in reality, it'll take like 3 weeks to be able to buy a piece of gear. So it's kind of like a bad luck mechanic or bad luck protection, so to speak. So at least if you haven't gotten quite what you're looking for or whatever, you get a thing that you can use to buy a piece of gear for a certain slot. I think it's like the rings, weapons, trinkets, that kind of stuff.
Got a question over here. Can you use any of that gear and take it to the thing in
The
Zereth Mortis?
Creation Catalyst. So you were supposed to be able to do it for the stuff, but like the Mythic stuff works fine, right? I'm sure PvP gear works fine. For whatever reason, the faded legs I got out of Nathria and LFR aren't. So it hasn't been addressed yet. Supposedly back in May, I read something somewhere where it was confirmed that it was supposed to be anything you got from one of the Fated Raids, Mythic, Plus, or PvP, like it is now. But like if you go to the Creation Catalyst, it still just says Castle Nathria.
Yeah.
So
I'll be honest, if it doesn't include raids, my enjoyment with that patch is going to be pretty much nil. Like,
the only reason would be to upgrade tier set. So
sure.
Right, no, I know, but that's 4 pieces out of however many pieces you wear. And the way all of our luck is, it's like odds of getting something that's better is low. Anyway, I'm hoping they address it. I haven't really seen anything. I kind of looked. There's been a few posts on the bugs forums about it, but that's kind of it on that. But
so at least other people are notating it as well.
Right. It's not gone unnoticed.
Okay.
But back to the quest. Initially, we weren't getting credit for it in LFR. Now it just says fated bosses. So, okay, maybe LFR is not included, but I'm like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it never stipulated that. It just said fated bosses. You should be able to do this. And then we got to, because I was doing it with another guy in the guild, and we got...
You were?
Yep. And it wasn't you, Brian. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So, but then it started counting. So I ended up with like 3 out of 30 instead of the 10. And so it happened. I was wondering if they kind of did some sort of live hot fix or whatever. So like I went and
Hmm.
tried. So like later I went and tried doing Denathrius again. Didn't get credit for it. Tried it again later. Didn't get credit for it. I logged in today and I had credit for all 10. So
Huh.
they retroactively. So it's. I think the patch notes say the next time you log in on that character and go to Ouroboros, it should update.
Oh, that's good.
So
At least they fixed that.
right, which it's good because it was buggy. I mean, obviously, let me tell you, LFR was a fucking pushover.
Really?
Oh my god! Now it could be because it was patch day, and it was the first day of it, so everybody's doing it. But I mean, we were, and I tanked it too because I figured I'd get in faster that way. I don't know if with as many people doing it, if that really would have mattered or not, but everything was a pushover. And apparently, there is some sort of bug with the scaling. Either they weren't being scaled correctly, or the display of their health was inappropriately being scaled up 15%. So it seemed like they had more health, but there's some article where they took some logs from before and after, and they think they're speculating that the bug also applied to your damage numbers were also artificially inflated. So
That's cool.
I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But in doing LFR, I have figured out how the fated abilities works. So
Good.
we had talked about it. There was 4 of them, 4 different ones. And I was thinking that they were going to be like, you'd have 1 for each difficulty level. Not lever. God damn it. Yeah. Difficulty lever. A difficulty lever.
Just go in and be like, all on low. Give me
Yep.
all the gear.
But each boss has 1 of them. So it's different for the bosses. So there's just 1 new mechanic on a boss, and it'll be 1 of the 4.
So is it
Faded
a
ability.
random one or?
It's not random. I'm pretty sure that it's set, so we can look it up and, whatever. But some of them seem to be easy to deal with. There's one where something spawns up, and you kind of have to kill it and keep it interrupted.
Oh no.
There's another one that when you click on it, it spawns a bunch of like little ads that you can just kind of group up and kill. There's one where you got to soak some puddles, like 2 or 3 of them. It's not a big deal. And I forget what the 4th one is. Maybe the boss gets a shield or something like that. I don't know. It did not really feel impactful. Now, granted, it could be because LFR is a pushover. But I mean, it didn't really feel that bad. So we'll see how it is when we do it on Sunday.
Yeah. What is the first faded raid?
Nathria. So it's just in order.
Okay. So they're just gonna keep alternating?
It's going to cycle for the length of season 4. However long that's going to be.
So we have 1 week to
Right. We
do
have
the whole raid?
Yeah. Well, no, because it'll be up again in 3 weeks.
Well, sure, but we can't
But the item is
lock
the same
out
for
the
each raid,
raid.
though.
The skips are still active. So if we have the skips, we can use them to skip ahead to some of the other bosses. We can clear like half of it 1 week, save it,
Can we do that? Will it?
extend the raid.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't see why it wouldn't. I'll have to do some research
Yeah.
and see.
I
assume
would be
you could.
interested to see if it'll screw things up too. Like, when they do the time walking raids, how that is just a buggy mess as far as like if you don't clear the whole thing in one go, you have to like.
Well, the raids themselves are the same. The only thing is they have like a new thing attached to them, and it's still in the same cycle. So it's not like doing some weird scaling match. I mean, it is a little bit, but it's not. I don't think it's quite the same because it's. I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to look and see. But
Oh, the conduits, they don't go up higher?
no, they do.
Oh, do they? Okay. The adventure guide doesn't show that it goes up. Oh, maybe it does. It does, but it's in. They're 239.
No, 239 is the current one, or that's old Raid Finder. I got a conduit and it was like 265. So,
Dang.
Oh, okay.
or something like that.
It shows the 265 for the gear in the adventure guide, but the first boss shows conduits are 239.
It must
That's
not be
cool.
updated, but I got a conduit that was 265. So, I don't
Awesome.
know. So, I mean, and then I got pants that were 272, but that's because they were off of the Stone Generals. So,
Mm.
the gear, like the little bonus levels on the last couple bosses, still applies. So, you know what I mean? Like, Denathras
Yeah.
and Stone Generals had a little bit higher gear or whatever. So, it was interesting because it's LFR, and I don't know if that's a sign that it's gonna be easy or not when we go in there.
I'd like it to be easy.
I would too, but
Hey,
Not gonna lie.
I read that it was buggy and bad, and people were giving up because it was messed up.
Wow.
there was a bunch of problems. Do I have this pulled up? There were some problems with some of the abilities in, I don't know if it was like boss abilities. There were some classes too that were having issues in there. They've fixed some of it, and then they said unfortunately it also reset progress on certain like lockouts. So some people's lockouts got reset, unfortunately. Let's see.
That would be frustrating.
Yeah, so let's see. They are aware of and working on a bug causing some player abilities to malfunction in faded raids. They were investigating it. Let's see. Well, it wasn't Warlocks. I'm sorry, it wasn't Death Knights. Yeah, there was like some issue, like the leech stat wasn't working. Like some.
That's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it's weird.
It makes you wonder what they changed underneath
Yeah.
to make it happen, because it seems like that suggests that there is something underneath it that they're taking with them going forward. Almost like they pulled something out of the expansion and shoved it in there and tried to make it work.
Yeah.
Like they've done scaling. I mean, they're experts at scaling at this point. Scaling that much really shouldn't be I wouldn't think would be a big deal for them at this point. Like, they got to have mechanisms in place that do it already. So seems kind of funky, right?
Yeah,
Funky.
I think it's because they added the new abilities. Maybe that had something to do with it. I don't know.
Well, I will tell you, there are item level 304 BOEs on the auction house.
Of fucking course there are.
Holy cow, that's incredible.
Do you think there's gonna be
$1.5 million gold.
Jesus, do you think there's gonna be a world first? A world first. I cannot talk. Jesus Christ!
Faded
A
raid.
world
You can get it, Jim.
first,
You got it.
World first faded raid push for the mythic ones. You think that people are gonna try and be like, oh, first?
I don't.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like, you know,
I feel like you would have heard about it already.
Yeah, Jim, you would have heard about it.
No, I just
if
mean,
anything, I would have, because I'm the one that
are
pays
all
attention.
difficulties out? Are all difficulties out?
Yeah,
Oh, well then, yeah,
because
yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that would have. They always, as soon as the raids come out, they do it. It's not, I mean, I feel like Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't know if anybody even cares about it.
That's what I mean.
You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think anybody really cares about it. Like, it's not a
We're still in
quote
Shadowland.
unquote
That's the worst part about
prestigious.
it.
You know, it's raids that they've already figured out the mechanics for, and it's just one additional mechanic. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
But at the
So-
higher levels, that could pose a problem. It didn't in LFR, but
Well, sure, but
perhaps,
that's LFR.
yes, that is LFR, but perhaps with it being that much higher.
All right, let's go to Mythic and try it out.
Ooh, somebody's feeling spicy.
Yeah, spicy.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and
Mythic drops 30. Was it 304?
Yeah.
3.
which is crazy
Yeah.
because didn't
That
they
is
say
crazy.
like there's no legendary upgrade, right? 291's it.
Mhm.
So
So
does that mean
gear
people
is-
are going to replace legendaries, or
No,
are the
because-
powers going to be that much?
I think the powers make that much more difference. I would assume. Than
I would
stats.
assume as well. It's not even the stats. It would be just the powers on it, because the stats you could get an item with better stats. Because I mean, you're talking 15 levels higher of gear. That would not be an insignificant increase in stats.
Right.
But if the legendary ability, offers some stuff, so I
It's
don't
a
know.
legendary difference, I can tell you that.
You, my friend, are funny. So I've done a few keys. What did I do? I did a Mechagon workshop, a Iron Docks, and then I did a Kara lower today.
Oh yeah, Karazin was another one that people were complaining about online. What was the deal with that?
I think there were some issues in the upper one that they addressed. Maybe, I don't know. We didn't time it because people don't remember the fights and stuff. So
Yeah, that's fair.
it was, yeah, I don't know what the deal with upper was, but it's like we did the opera boss, and then we went back behind there, and then it was the tank overpulled, and I don't know, because I'm like, the space is so tight, and there's just like a lot of packs back there, so I tend to not use like AoEs or whatever, but like he just kept pulling more and more packs. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, this isn't like a cakewalk, and it's like we wiped and we went a different way and all that stuff, and it was just like, I think some people just don't know. I don't know. I think they
might not been familiar with it. I mean, he could be somebody who hasn't come in.
No, he definitely knew the fights, and he definitely knew all this stuff, but he was over pulling on a key where people aren't necessarily familiar. It's a pug. So if you're going to tank, you should be at least a little bit conservative with your pulls, just because.
Was the healer saying anything? Were they complaining?
No, the healer like hardly talked. And then like he like the healer was low on mana, and he asked the healer if the healer needed a drink, and then proceeded to just like face pull a bunch of stuff until the healer was almost out of mana. And the healer's like, mana? And I'm just like, God, just stop.
Did you time it?
No, we didn't time it. We were fairly close, but we didn't have the percentage. And
I
all
don't
that
know,
stuff.
Jim. The way you're explaining it, I feel like
Oh.
it's all your fault.
It probably was my fault.
My,
Just being the. So we're back from a unscheduled
We
break.
just got off of 2 great points.
Sorry, you guys will never hear it, and this is why we don't allow people to listen live.
Oh,
God.
But
son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
but
Oh.
Whew.
Yep. That was
yes,
a
so
thing.
the mythics are interesting because, like, especially like Iron Docks, right? That's like, I don't think that's ever been a key. We timed that one. I think I just did it on like a +3 or something like that. But because I just went and grabbed a key because I think my keys is degraded because I hadn't done them in a while. They degraded all the way down. So like I went, oh, I lost my key. You know, they got the guy you can talk to.
Yeah.
So he'll still give
Yeah.
you a key. He gave me a 3. You know, we plus 2'd it and all that stuff. It was fine. You know, it's just.
Did you go with the same group?
No.
Oh.
I make it a point to not run with the same group because I don't know.
They usually flake on you.
I make it a point to not do that.
I don't want to see these people ever again.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It's
You
just-
know, it's
I typically run one and get off.
it's funny. It's funny.
Log off the game.
It's funny because
Oh.
my friend and I were playing Final Fantasy the other night, and we were fate farming, right? Which is, you know, something nice and easy that you can do in your
It's the
spare
most
time. And
boring fucking thing in that game.
It's. I don't think so. I enjoy fate farming
I
very
hate
much.
it.
Anyway, we were doing that, and I swear to God, in an MMO, we're the only people that as soon as somebody wanted to join our group to continue the fate farming and be social, she's like, let's go to a different area. This person wants to join our group, and I don't want to join the group. I was like, I feel like we are the most anti-social
MMO
people.
players.
Yeah, like as soon as somebody wants to join our group, we're like, rather than just saying, nah, we're good, we're like, let's go to a different area.
And just ghost them.
This area,
Just avoid
yeah.
all awkward situations.
This area is ruined for us now. Let's just go to a different area.
Mm.
And then we get to the other area, and then somebody else wants to do the same thing, and we're like, what?
The grounds have been tainted.
Yeah,
We must
yeah.
flee.
That's exactly it. That was it, exactly. Like, we have to go. Somebody wants to be social, and we are not. To be fair, neither of us felt like it at the moment because we had some stuff going on that, you know, we didn't feel like being social with people. It's not like she's a pretty social person. She would have done it normally, but she just definitely was not feeling it then. So it was funny. I had to laugh.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I don't. I typically just tend to get on. Like, sometimes I'll do one before work or when I get off of work, just log in and do a dungeon. Because depending on the group, and I think especially with it being so early, it's still within the first week, right? You know, like it's been 2 days, so people really don't have necessarily the experience for the different routes and whatnot to do dungeons in. So everybody's kind of inexperienced. So it's just like people make simple mistakes that can really, you know, it just gets frustrating and mentally draining. So it's like, I'll do one and then I'll just go do something else, you know?
So how long did you get through the dungeon aside from like not timing it?
I think that one was like a 40-minute timer or a 39-minute timer or something like that. I know it's like up there, so maybe like an extra 10 minutes on top of it, because we weren't that much over when we got it done.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just, you know, so it wasn't that bad there. I saw somebody posted something on Reddit. They were doing a carrot upper, and it was like 2 hours
Wow.
or whatever. And I'm just like, I don't know what level the
No
key
way.
was.
Para
I don't know
upper,
what-
2
yeah.
hours. That
I don't know what level the
sounds
key
very
was.
familiar to me.
That's like a 7-hour plus 20. What dungeon was that? It's the one Shrine of the Storms.
Shrine of the Storms. Was it 7 hours? We were in there
Jesus.
7 hours.
5.5, 6 hours, 7 hours. I don't know.
It
It was like
long.
3 o'clock in the morning.
It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was terrible. We were
It
not
was-
prepared.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that could have been the affixes or whatever, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. So I got like, I think a ring out of that or whatever. So I got a couple pieces I can maybe start looking at upgrading. But oh yeah, I saw another post. Somebody was just like, glad they didn't fix the King Mechagon bug, because
Oh yeah, I read about that too.
What is that?
they had like 2 minutes left until they're fighting him, and they beat the robot. So like the phase 2, right? When he goes out into the big robot and you fight him in the room. So like you fight him, and then you fight him the second phase where he's in the thing, and then he pops out and you kill him.
Yeah.
He popped out, and somebody hit him or something like that, and he just disappeared.
Oh.
and the doors closed, and that
They
was
didn't
that.
time it.
Yeah, I think they missed the timer because they had to wait for him to respawn and all that stuff, and they were at like 2 minutes then. I don't know what level key it was, but that still kind of sucks. That there's still some of these
Yeah.
bugs that they don't have fixed. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see. I haven't done a Grim Rail. I haven't done the Junkyard or Upper Carry yet. So, I mean, I've done the Tashavez dungeons. I have to think if I said that right. Tashavez, yeah. Not Tavazesh.
Tazvesh.
Tazavesh, yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. It's neat to see old content in that thing. I haven't done anything where you'll see the last affix, the subterfuge one or whatever it's called, where there's like the dreadlords that are hiding in there and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be interesting. But I don't know. I figured do a couple a week or whatever, just kind of push a little bit. I think a +3 ends up netting you like a 272
Yeah, that's what I was reading. That's crazy.
piece, which is,
I mean, is that higher than normal? Like
for
relatively?
that low, yes.
That's crazy.
Because that to get something like that before, you were doing, I don't know, higher than that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's what I was thinking. I think that was my son was telling me about that because I think he ran one.
Everything's been bumped up here. So I don't know. It's interesting. It's neat. Let's see.
What's the so in that case, what does the max do? Or what's the max? Any idea as far as item level in Mythic Plus? Is it higher than Mythic rating
No.
at that point?
No.
Okay.
I don't think it would be. I think it would maybe be 304 would be the upper end that you could do, like once you start getting up to like maybe 20s or something like that.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't think, because it's meant to be like an alternate gear path and all that kind of stuff, or just equivalent kind of thing.
Right.
So, did you see? Because I'm pretty sure Kristen didn't see this, but did you see the news about the secret project being canceled?
I did.
So there
What's
was
the
a
secret
secret project that Blizzard had going on with NetEase, which is their Chinese district publishing company that has been pushing WoW out in China since 2008 or whatever. They were working, apparently been 3 years in dev. And it was codenamed Neptune, but it was a smartphone mobile game that was an MMO spin-off set in the same universe as World of Warcraft, but in a different time period than the current game. So, but they canceled it, and it says, let's see, it says it was canceled due to a disagreement over financial terms between the two companies.
Huh.
So, it's just interesting that what that could have been, because it's
Another Diablo Immortal.
I mean, what would it have been though?
well,
Another Diablo
yeah, I mean, for
Immortal.
sure. Like especially if it was if development was sourced out like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how much of it was sourced out as far as development and whatnot. It probably would have been something like, my guess would be maybe like a Raid Shadow Legends type thing. That would be interesting if they did something like that.
I never played that before.
It's dumb.
I played it.
I've heard of it.
I've played it a lot.
If you watch any videos on YouTube, odds are you fucking heard of the damn game.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I've heard of it, but I haven't. Yeah.
It's just you collect characters and stuff like that. So again, where it's described as an MMO spin-off, it doesn't necessarily mean. I don't know if it was going to be. Oh no, it does say a mobile World of Warcraft MMO RPG. So I guess it probably wouldn't have been like that. I don't know of many MMO RPG stuff that's out there. I mean, other than Diablo Immortal, which is like an action MMO kind of thing. So I don't know. It would have been. We'll never know, I guess. Maybe some stuff will get leaked now, but yeah, I don't know. When I first saw the news, I thought that they were canceling Arclight Rumble.
Oh my god. Please cancel that. Jesus.
I mean, I'm not saying that would be funny, but
I mean, come on. They could do stuff to reinvigorate WoW instead of making Arclight Rumble.
It is a completely separate group of people working on it. They're still doing stuff for WoW. I mean, just because this is being worked on doesn't mean that they're not doing anything on WoW. Oh my god.
I love it.
I don't know why I even try to have conversations with you people.
You hear that, Brian? You're part of you people.
Oh
Brian's
man,
like,
I was going to say something.
Brian's like,
I
didn't
can't
even
say what I wanted to say.
anything.
Anyway,
We'd have to cut that out too.
Oh, we have to cut out so much anyway that it's fine. You should probably just say it.
No, I feel
No.
bad for Jim.
So Blizzard released a no, we're moving on. We're done. We're moving on. We're leaving all the negativity behind.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
And they released a preview of Valdrakken, which is like the main hub for Dragonflight, the main hub city.
That's the one with all the newable playable races that we actually wanted, right? Are the playable dragony guys or whatever, right? In that one.
I mean,
The
I'm looking at them. There's
Valdrakken-ish.
yeah, it has some of the beefy dragonkin that you are talking about.
Those beefy boys.
The thick boys.
We love
Yeah.
those beefy boys.
Oh,
I don't know. It just seemed interesting.
sorry. I gotta add a layer of salt in it, Jim. If we're gonna cook it, we gotta cook it together. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
Still
even want to
salty.
know what the hell.
Somebody asked me like what the expansion, like what's gonna be like or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. It looks interesting. But it's got some epic uwu going on.
It doesn't have any
Ew.
fucking uwu. What the fuck?
Ew.
Furry translates into uwu at
What?
some point, and
Oh
they're
my
scaly, so they go.
Well, thanks everybody for listening.
Oh,
I have to ask because I clearly am not in the know. Where the frick is all this scaly shit coming from? Like,
I
people.
think you guys told me it last week. Or the week before, I don't remember. One week you guys
when I
told me
bitched
about the scaly stuff.
when I bitched about WoW being considered a furry conspiracy or pushing a furry agenda, right? You know, and we were talking about, and you were like, yeah, you know, they call them scalies and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
I mean, but that's what I had never heard of that until like listening to people on Twitch, and you know, maybe I should just not listen to people on Twitch.
Yeah,
but
think
but it just like Jesus Christ. Because you like dragons, you're a scaly?
No.
Like, I don't understand that.
it's not if
Like,
you like dragons, right? If you
have like dragons?
no, if you are so like if you think about it, right? Furries are furries because they identify or have
Jim.
a
Jim, what are we?
normies.
But not slaves to this
Think-
torment.
Shut up.
What did you say?
But if not slaves to this torment,
Oh, Jesus.
those would be necros. No, it's just if you are a reptilian type of thing, obviously you're not a furry because they don't fucking have hair. So it's just a subclass of fucking furry. I'm sure they have names for like if you are a fucking shark or a fish or some bullshit. Like maybe that's scaly too because fish and sharks have scales. I don't know.
I'm just so confused.
It is a culture that I don't delve into.
Yeah.
And I don't know shit about and don't care about.
Yeah.
Because
just,
It's not my bag and I just don't care.
I just don't. I guess I just don't understand it.
But just because you are, let's just say you are into the dragons or whatever, the Drakthir or whatever, that doesn't necessarily make you a scaly, I would assume.
Oh, man.
I don't know. I don't care. They're fucking...
I just think those big ones would be awesome for tanking and stuff like that. That's all.
Yeah.
Big ass shield, big ass weapon.
Well, they got the Centaur
Big
ones
ass.
too. They got the Centaur
What?
dragon ones too.
Brian.
Right? They got all different kinds of things. But those are actual...
That would be really cool, right? And then like we'd have a different like ride me mount system besides druids getting ridden all the time by everyone.
Yeah.
and alchemy. Sandstone Drake. Right?
Yeah.
The
That's
vial.
true. Yeah, it's not a ride me though. It's a
You can get the
weird
rocket.
hand
right?
fetish thing.
Or was the rocket only recruit a friend
Recruit a friend.
to have the two-seater rocket?
That wasn't the law rocket.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what it's called anymore.
The silver bullet. Sorry.
Mhm.
The vibrator. I don't know, Jim.
No,
God, I haven't kept up.
the touring rocket was the two-seater rocket for the recruiter friend back in like a Lich King time. Because I just remember riding around with some people in the guild, and they would do stuff, and all of a sudden accidentally eject you.
Whoa.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Not you. You didn't do it. It happened to you.
Yeah. I don't
It
know
was.
what you're talking about.
Oh, say it was the X.
I
Sorry.
don't know
it's
what you're
awkward.
talking about.
No, Brian.
I have no
You know,
Ah.
you know all parties involved. You just-
Anywho,
I
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about.
let's see what else. I don't know. There's some posts about
warrior talent trees. Is anybody excited about that? I am. Kind of. Not really. I don't know. I did go through it last
I'm
night,
not.
and I saw for arms, and I'm pretty sure I misinterpreted it completely. And I'm sure that there's nobody listening that would be willing to correct me and make me look like a fool. So I'll go ahead and say it. One-handed. Dual wield. One-hand dual wield
One
for arms.
is
What do you mean?
because is arms only two-handed weapon?
It specializes in two-handed weapon, right? So, having it's funny because I actually don't know what really makes it two-handed weapon focused, but it's always kind of been that way. Like you get your specialization for, like in original classic and all that stuff. You had like two-handed axes and all that garbage and stuff.
Do you get any skills that you can't use if they're not two-handed?
That might be it. That might be it. But there was a lot of talent-based stuff around buffing, and it's really interesting. They take all of the skills and the passive stuff they give you, and they kind of layer it out so you don't go in deep and dumb as you used to for the talent tree. You go in light. At the most, you're going in 2 steps into it, maybe 3 in some. But it's just to make sure you get a good chunk of stuff. Like, so when it has, I don't know, mastery or something like that, it's like take 2% for the first tick and another 2% for the second tick for a total of 4, rather than like 1% or something lower, or scaling, whatever the case may be. So you can grab these talents without feeling terrible or having FOMO or anything like that, right? Like, and experiment a little bit. But what I noticed was like the one-handed specialization or whatever they called it. I don't recall the actual wording behind it. It was in a few places to reflect like, hey, you can use whatever you want. I didn't check Fury and all that stuff because I think Fury was the one that gave you bonuses for two-handed at one point. I don't know if that's still a thing or not. All kinds of stuff like that. So my hope is like, because there's not really like there used to be single-minded Fury at one point, but I think they took it out. Even shit like, I think I talked about this before, but the protection warrior had the DPS protection spec or whatever in Warlords, so you could actually talent, I think, into something that gave you a buff for your damage output and everything, and so you could kind of DPS as a protection warrior, or at least keep up with DPS to a certain extent as a protection warrior. I'm hoping like that's reflective of kind of what the system is trying to do. Not just give you choice for the sake of having a choice to make a choice or whatever the case may be, but a more thoughtful process to craft out some different subtypes of the class just beyond the spec. And it felt kind of good. Like I was kind of upset a few things that I couldn't grab, which led me to think like, holy shit, I might actually go ahead and play with this a few more times. Usually stuff like this, like it'll die off until the expansion comes out for me. And then I'll get more excited about it then when I can actually see what's happening with it. But I was playing around like,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting. Like which I haven't had a chance in. None of the other classes matter to me so far. So
right.
this coming out was like, oh, I could feel it now. I could feel the interesting sub archetypes, what do you want to call them, that you kind of have a possibility with. Even like Thunderclap, and there's some stuff that goes with Thunderclap, and you can work it into your rotation instead of it just being like a tank thing. It can be an anybody thing. So then I'm thinking like, oh wow, like I don't have to get Rend as an arm warrior if I don't want to. But if I do, and then there's these other bonuses that kind of work with it with another talent and everything like that, and it's like, this is really neat actually. I like it quite a bit. I don't know if I didn't get the general consensus of the warrior talent tree, and if it's like shit like whatever else somebody was shitting on last week or week before. Paladin, I think the Paladin was one everybody was shitting on. But yeah, I was kind of stoked. That's cool.
What's funny is I'm sitting here and I'm on the arms talent thing, and I get down and I'm looking at like there's one called Valor and Victory that increases your versatility or whatever, and it says requires warrior fury.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them like
arms, that. But it's in the arms tree.
I don't know, like
it's got to be.
Is that something old that comes in? Like it's referencing an old
talent
system thing. Yeah.
See, they all say talents,
showing it there.
You know, so like they're all talents. So I don't know. These are all new tooltip things.
Oh, I did see what did somebody say? I think it was on Reddit. They were showing you could do something and it switches to text instead of icons on Wowhead. I don't remember what it was, but apparently it's helpful instead of trying to hover over everything. But yeah, no, I mean, it was kind of neat. Like, I mean, I'm kind of upset, like shit like Heroic Leap, they put that in the talent tree instead, which I think you kind of have to grab it if you're going for pure DPS. It looks like, but stuff like that's very specific to a warrior nowadays, and it's kind of irritating that that's more optional. Like, would like it to be a staple of what a warrior is. Like, just at a certain point, you can leap around everywhere.
Well, I think part of it is, I think on the arms tree, one of the things you can do gives you more charges. So
yeah, and that's a talent right now as it is as well.
Right, but it might be like if you want to go pure arms, you might be able to just build straight into charging as your main thing to do that, and they might give some bonuses to charge. I don't know. There are some things that are going to be weird because, like, when I know Kristen is upset with a lot of it when they're taking things that are just baseline and putting them in the talent tree.
Frustrating. It's lazy. It's taking things we already had, repackaging
you can definitely feel where they, I don't want to say pulled it out of their ass, but they had to fill.
Yeah.
And you could tell that's like Heroic Leap. I really do feel like that's because there's nothing around it that gives a bonus immediately. I think there was a bonus for it somewhere down the tree. I don't remember where exactly it was at, but
give it multiple charges. more than it had. You know what I mean? Make that
I
an
think that-
optional
yeah, in
thing where you gave it multiple charges. Give it, you know,
In this case, I
extend
think
the
that's
range.
what it was.
You know what I mean?
Oh, here you go. It reduces the cooldown of it, and you get
Sure.
your speed buff. That's already in the game, right? But they split. I think those are two different things. Maybe I don't remember. Well, you have heroic leap, I think, by default, and then you can talent into.
Okay, so those were already talents that you had to choose.
Yeah,
that's
at least one
okay.
was. But
But-
even heroic leap, though, that was a core skill.
Yes.
Once you got to a certain level, so
So yes, the
like
heroic
that.
leap should stay in your spell book, and then the other additional things, you shouldn't have to take heroic leap in that to get it. You should just be able to take heroic leap to augment heroic leap. That
I
would
agree.
be an elegant way to do it.
even
Not
even-
just ripping it out and putting it in there.
even rallying cry.
Yeah.
That's a first level talent, but
Oh, it's
Like-
a talent though.
But it also requires you
but
to
it's a
either,
talent.
it also requires you to either take a point in if you are Fury, you would have to
Oh,
take
right,
a
yeah.
point in defensive stance or in battle stance to even get it. Because it's between those two. Rally cry.
Oh, you can't go back up.
No, you can't go backwards.
Interesting.
It's down only. So like you can't go like down and then kind of backtrack. So
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
but I mean, you figure you're
That is weird. That is weird, isn't it?
but
Like,
even if you take everything that's just on like the armed battle stance size, right? You still have 2 points that you have to put in before you can even move on to the next layer. So
oh, Jim, I didn't even notice that before. That's kind of upsetting.
Right?
Oh, there's a whole side of this tree I can't even consider now. The dual wielding specialization.
well,
It's on Fury's side. I didn't even, because there was the first thing for dual wielding. What did I see? It's in the middle. One-handed weapon specialization, but it's like increased leech by 10%, which whatever. Right? I mean, that's fine. But the fact like they highlighted that as an option, I'm like, okay, but that's for prot.
well,
So what's the point? Like, what's these lines? Now I'm getting mad about it, Jim. You had to go and highlight that. And now I'm mad.
well, I want you to know what you're going into, and
It's
it's
frustrating.
But
It is. I'm not gonna. I know I'm Debbie Downer about this all the time,
Debbie,
but
I got your back.
it's exactly what I feared that was gonna happen. It's what happens with everything. We're gonna give
Well,
you
it
what
just sucks is there's
we're
not
gonna
there's
give
not
you-
that much crossover.
we're gonna give you what you want, but we're gonna fuck it up. Like, sorry to be so blunt about it, but that's, you know,
There-
we're gonna screw it up. We're not gonna give you exactly. We're gonna monkey's paw it. We're not gonna give you exactly what you
There-
want.
they're changing the game.
It's frustrating.
It is going to
I mean,
be.
I don't know. Is that the word for it though? Honestly,
no,
like
they're revamping the way characters are and the way you build them and the way they play. Right? They're giving you.
they're maintaining their control, which feels a little just slightly bad. That's all. Sorry. I'm not trying to be negative. It's
No,
just
I
it's
agree.
totally negative. Like I see spots here on the very first tier of the warrior side of the tree where you could go from the middle, the outward. So if you could start from the middle, there's intimidating shout, then you bounce between the two selectables on each side. They could easily have a branch between that and the next level down going across that could really tie some of the stuff together, right? Obviously, I'm sure there's tons and tons of stuff to consider if they're really leaving out that much. But like, there's not. These aren't as robust as I actually thought they would be. Then, I know it makes me sound stupid, but I really thought that like it was set up that way. My fault for not trying it enough on the other ones, I suppose, but that really sucks.
Yeah.
It is definitely a departure from the way things have been since they changed and got rid of the talent trees in Cataclysm. Did they get rid of them in Cataclysm? Was Lich King the last time for the
Lich
talent
King
tree?
was the last time, I think.
Yes.
So it is definitely a departure from the way things have been for a long time. It was either Cata or Mop. I don't remember.
It was Mist. I think it was Mist, actually.
Yeah. So we've gone so long with just having very minimal choices in what we picked and all that stuff. And I think even though, yes, they're taking a lot of baseline stuff out, they're taking baseline stuff out, like I think interrupts are being pulled out and put in, but I think that they're making it so that they are putting them in such a way that every class can get an interrupt now.
Yeah, but the question is, will they need to get an interrupt?
Well, the question is, what do they need to give up to get an interrupt?
Well,
And
I think a
worthwhile?
I think a lot of those things tend to be higher up in the tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of like,
You
defensive type. I don't know, whatever you call those types of things.
a lot of like the generic things are up there, and it's not. I mean, not everybody has to have an interrupt, right? So it's
I'd prefer not to have one, so I don't have to be held accountable for doing it.
right, but I mean, but that's
I know,
something
I'm
you
like-
could do if you have people that have this interrupt skill, right? But never use it because other people are using it, and like they never have to interrupt.
You don't get used
Maybe
to
there's
doing it.
something else that they could take
Yeah.
in place of that, right?
Yeah.
So you can't, don't think about it like they're just taking everything away from you. It's they're trying to give the opportunity to build outside of like these cookie cutter specs and to really experiment with stuff.
So,
I really think that.
That's fine, but the problem that you run into with that, trying to make different play styles viable, is that they make these fights in Mythic Plus and raids with very tight DPS checks and stuff. So people have to take that cookie cutter stuff. You can't really do that. You can't.
But the whole thing is you're going to have the ability to save loadouts, right? So you
Sure.
you can have a talent build for your Mythic Plus stuff. You can have a talent build for your PvE, for your PvP, for your rating, for different levels
Yeah.
of rating. You know what I mean? It's
Sure,
like,
but if you don't like a certain playstyle, but that's the playstyle that's the optimal playstyle because it's going to give you
Again-
the most DPS from the, I mean,
well, one, we don't know what the fights are going to be like in
I
the new
mean,
thing. They might
it feels like
loosen that.
if they went back to the way that fights were,
With fewer
Lich King.
mechanics.
well, with fewer mechanics, with fewer enraged timers, right? Remembering doing the safety dance with two people because, everybody else was dead. A tank and a healer. Because there was no,
Yeah. I mean, and maybe that's going into consideration for this stuff. Maybe it's going to be like that. I don't know.
I don't think
But
so.
again,
Because I think they're
even-
catering to like the world first people and the,
even though there's going to be an optimal build, you have to take into consideration you're not doing Mythic Plus by yourself. You're not rating by yourself, right? So if you think about it as a working and I'm not saying, if you're pugging, you're obviously going to take something because people are going to expect it kind of thing. But if you have a group and you're working on doing these things and you're planning it out, you can go, okay, well, I can do this because I'm pretty good with the interrupts. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to take that. You know what I mean? Or it's just I'll focus on AoE. You focus on a single target. It's like there's a bit more variability there because you can build your group around it and discuss it. And you know what I mean? Like, actually get involved with and have discussions about, okay, well, we're going to do this. This is, the affixes this week or this. So it would be good if you had these talents and I had these talents kind of thing. And then maybe the next...
Is respecing going to be like different then? Have they said anything about that? Or are you still going to need like the bug powder or whatever the hell that crap was?
Well, I mean, it's probably going to be the same.
Less, I guess right now it's the same in the rested area, but if you're not, then you got to have...
Well, you have books and you just flip talents. Now, again, I don't know. I think they were trying to work on it, how to change things if you wanted to change something up higher in the tree, but not everything below it. Like they were going to... Yeah. I don't know if they have a plan for that per se, or if you have to just reset and start over kind of thing. That's because that's kind of a difficult problem, right? Like if you have a bunch of stuff picked and you want to change one talent, that's like the root of that tree.
Yeah.
Like everything below that requires that.
I can just see people sitting in raid. Hold on. I need this one talent and it's in like row 2 and I've got to change everything. Like there'll be 10-minute breaks for people to change talents.
Hopefully people will have done something before that. Now, maybe initially it'll be like that, but hopefully later on in the thing, people would have already saved loadouts potentially. So it's just switching, but I don't know. It's not a perfect system. It's a different system. It's definitely a different change from the way things have been. So it will be interesting to see how it plays out. So, I mean, and it's hard to really get a feel for it by looking at a web page and looking at stuff, because that doesn't necessarily give you an idea of how it feels.
Jim, you're a liar. I just realized I'm going to switch to Fury. So the warrior side of the tree for Fury is already more well set up to support that spec. It's very depressing, to be honest, but
again, don't you normally play Fury?
No, I've been playing ARMS since the beginning of BFA, I think.
Well, I don't know. I don't play a warrior. I play a prot warrior, so I really don't have an opinion on it. Like my warrior's prot. So, I mean, it's just like...
I think originally I stopped playing Fury because I couldn't keep up with the rotation for whatever reason.
I think I remember that was in Legion. I think you were having issues with it because it was just... And again, it's probably changed.
It was too fast for me. That's all right, though. I'm willing to change. It's okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right.
It's fine.
It's fine. It'll be fine. We'll figure out once they give us alpha, we can actually really, test these.
I know, right? We could really be testing this shit out for them, but they're fucking assholes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay. Let's not get crazy. Brian may think you guys are assholes. Jim is willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and willing to test this.
I can call them assholes because I've been paying them money and not playing. So.
Yeah. Wait, who's the asshole then?
All right.
That's okay. I'm in the same boat, Brian. I log on for raid and that's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there.
We're all assholes.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening to your 3 favorite assholes.
Oh, God.
Said listening.
Oh.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks everybody for listening. You can check us out at facebook.com/server restartn. Shoot us a tweet at server_restart, and we'll catch you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.